This is the A to Z podcast. Zach Jackson, Andre Knott, A to Z podcast.com, Facebook.com/A to Z podcast, at Akron Jackson, at Dre Knott on your favorite social media platforms. Shouts as always to Cleveland Scene, to the Honeymoon Grill, to American Fireworks for helping to make this happen, and to you guys for helping this grow. The great freeze out is coming. Probably
you suckers.
It's Andre's little bags are packed and he's going to the Bahamas. Is that where you're going, the Bahamas?
Bahamas, yeah.
Good for you.
See ya.
I don't really mind. Now listen, I read these forecasts.
Right.
And cynically, I don't believe them, but I do worry about people.
Especially older people.
And people that have to be placed.
But think about this. Before you came, and hopefully this sounds good, and hopefully I'm not too much on the mic or too far. I'll stay away from the mic a little bit.
You're good. Sure. No, you're good. I'm watching. Well, I don't know shit, but I'm watching.
We know. Anybody has watched this podcast?
We're in the same room.
Yeah, we're in the same room.
This is like the second time in 50 episodes.
Yeah. So congrats to us. But congrats to you guys. It's funny, just right before you got here, I got a phone call, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a phone call today on Tuesday that school's out the next 2 days already. Like, could you imagine being in school, whether it be high school, junior high? Because we all remember, like, we had to wake up, and not to take away from Ben Axelrod, who tweets every 5 minutes something, please look at me. But it's kind of like his text is like, could you imagine being in school right now, like at 2 o'clock, and being like, "Yo, we're out of school the next 2 days."
I just came from a school.
Yeah, you were at.
I spoke to a school,
right.
And I said, "Guys, like, I need you to ask when I'm done with my rant or whatever it is. I need you to ask some questions for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not that boring. Two, I want this to be a conversation, not a lecture. And three, like, you got a couple days off. Give me some energy.
Yeah, right.
Time is good."
Speaking of, I went to a school. No names will be used here. Last Friday, and it's a different type of school. It was a lot of non-English speaking students, and I had an encounter with Andre Knott of 24 years ago that spoke Spanish, and as I was speaking in front of the room, did not give two shits about anything I had to say. But his voice was so deep, him trying to whisper was ridiculous. It was like I'm like looking at him, and it's to the point where the teacher goes, I don't want to say his name. She's like, "You like baseball. You wanted to see him." And he's like, "I can't talk to him," or like whatever, and just like whispering with the guy next to him. And like as I'm in front of the class, like, and I'm trying to have a conversation with him, and the whole basis was, and there was a guy from another electric company, and it was basically for these students.
It was like a career day event.
Yeah, a little bit like a career day. Come speak to a class, and let them guess what you do for a living.
Oh, okay.
And which was not a bad idea, especially for the type of students that this school had. And I could just tell this kid did not give two shits about anything I had to say. And in the beginning, like, I didn't care. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, I'm doing this so God don't strike me down for everything else I've done in life.
It's honesty hour here on the A to Z podcast.
If I change your life or not, God, like you always say, if we get one kid, great. And there were a couple that paid attention. And my whole thing was that, hey, with all you Spanish-speaking students that have come over to this country for whatever reason, and you avoided the wall, that's a joke. You can erase that or anything else. But no, I'm just like, there's so many jobs out there. I'm like, my job, there's 32. Maybe 30, if depending upon how people use them. But being around baseball, I know how many jobs are needed and used throughout a whole baseball team of Spanish-speaking people, whether it's cooks, whether it's teachers, workout, like there's jobs in the business one way or the other.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I was talking to this class. We're in. We're having a little distraction moment here. We're in Andre's living room, and his 4-year-old is the only other person home. And so, even though he got strict instructions and a real cushy setup on where to be on his iPad and to let Dad and Uncle Zach work, of course, we made it all of 3 minutes and 59 seconds before AJ came downstairs and decided to not let Dad and Uncle Zach work. So anyway, I'm going to buy a moment here as I wait for Andre to come back around the corner. I'm not sure if it's going to be just a moment or not. That's fine. This is better than stopping and starting again. I just talked through it. That's what I do.
I heard you talking to someone. At least AJ didn't come right down and do what I thought he was going to do.
So the class that I spoke to this morning is a longtime friend of mine. Teaches a sports history class, right, which is like 24 years ago me would have freaked out, right, to be in this class, right? So basically, they focus on the local teams and on big shifts in business and whatever. And so they were talking Browns and the move and all that stuff. And then I came in. I did it a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I have no short-term memory because I drink too much, but I remember other stuff. So it was fascinating to me to just kind of ramble, take them through the 20 years of the Browns. Hey, you guys know about this. You might not know about this. The 2 players that they had questions about.
Andre Rison. I'm guessing, no?
Peyton Hillis and Josh Gordon.
Wow. It's funny. Peyton Hillis is
well,
like...
when you think about it, Dre,
for
Peyton
that
Hillis,
age.
Madden 2012.
Right, he was on the cover of a video game.
Right, so these kids were 9 years old.
Right. And even if you didn't watch
Yeah.
football or no football, you
Right.
paid attention to that issue of it. It's amazing that he is one of the big footnotes of the Browns since they returned.
Yeah.
Because of the video game. And he did have that 1 year.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be like, I'm just being honest. The Great White Hope thing is a real thing.
Oh, it sure is.
That's a real
It sure is.
And I mean, whether it be with women, whether it be with men, especially in the town we're in right now, like, because I was at a St. V speaking engagement. I did a lot of speaking engagements over the last few days. They all run together, and one guy talked about how he's got all these different Browns jerseys. And like he was like, some of them were decent. Well, they all were what they were. You guys know them all. Mm-hmm. But he was like, man, the Peyton Hillis one, I thought that one was legit. And I blurted out in front of 12 white middle-aged men. I go, of course you bought that one. And this dude was huge.
I love the picture of that, how you're just sitting at the kitchen table and there's Mick Ultra cans just streaming
there's a picture of it?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh,
you were too many Mick Ultras deep when I sent it to you.
It was like
I
water.
had 5.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You were with him on New Year's Eve. That chubby son of a
Yeah,
that's
Mick Ultra,
good.
It is like water.
Yeah, but you've punched 15 of them out. You'll be all right. I didn't get to 15.
Anyway, about this great freeze out. So I was
Yeah.
reading, and again, I'm not by the hype person. I do worry. So the thing I saw said first thing said anywhere between lowest in 25 years and record lows.
Yeah.
And then I saw one more specific tweet that said it will be the first time, if it lives up to the hype, on Wednesday, the first time since 1994 that the daytime high was below zero.
Below zero.
And we had, I remember, the American Fireworks Glory Days.
Glory days.
We had at least 3 days off, maybe
Yeah.
a full week. My dad took Rob and I to see Rudy
Wow.
during the great freeze out of 94.
See, that's other cool. Then go to movies. I was going to ask you, so where you're living, I mean, everything's going to probably be froze. You guys get these great pictures of Lake Erie. You're just going to drive right across the water.
So
people do it where he is.
Yeah, so I live right on the Portage Lakes, and you'll get a really deep freeze. Not every year, but then people come out on their four-wheelers and their snowmobiles and stuff. The problem is you got to make sure that it's frozen first.
Right.
Sunday afternoon, I was there riding, hanging out, and I heard the first four-wheelers, and then I didn't. So I was hoping everything.
Right.
But then yesterday, I was doing the high school basketball podcast, and of course we needed quiet, and a vroom, 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 vroom.
Right.
So I'm not sure, like because it's going to be like, supposedly it's going to be like hurt your skin type cold. But I would think,
people. You know people.
I would think by the weekend then, if it really does.
But dude, it's supposed to be like 45, 50 by the end of the week.
Yeah, but we really get the deep freeze, no, not 50, but
I heard there's this weather.
Mom, cover your ears for a second. Did I tell you about riding the Suburban across the ice?
Yeah, that's why I didn't even say.
Yeah,
it.
I'm not real proud.
Yeah, a Suburban's heavy as shit, you dummies. I was like, could you imagine that's how you got found at the bottom of that Portage Lakes?
Listen, when you're a true Portage Lakes hillbilly, you just clutch that bush light tight.
I was gonna say,
and you say, Lord, if you're going to take me now.
You're talking about being the Mick Ultras. I didn't get in a Suburban and decide to take the shortcut home.
Yeah. So out on the Portage Lakes, it's not wide open like Lake Erie. There are two specific swim areas, speed areas. There's two swim areas too.
Monday, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
46 Sunday is what they think.
Loony. Yeah, so I have friends that for years, every winter that they get out there, they drive up to whether it's their snowmobile, four-wheeler, whatever it is. I've seen golf carts. I've seen Volkswagen Jettas out there. I've seen the whole deal.
Everything.
They drive up to the sign that sits at the top of the ski and speed hours, and they take a picture. And then they come back in May on the boat, and take a picture next to the same sign, and it's just kind of like a cool,
it's funny
local hillbilly thing to do. Oh, it is dangerous. It's nothing to mess with, and there have been incidents that will scare the piss out of you. But also, when you're in a local establishment, which I've been known to do from time to time, on a winter Saturday night, all of a sudden you'll hear all the vroom, vroom, vrooms, and like 30 people will roll in on their snowmobiles and stuff, and it's kind of the local deal.
It's fun. Like I'm making fun of it. Like even where we're at right now, at my house, you can look out. There's a mini lake behind the house across the street from mine, and it's funny because sometimes I'll sit over here and I'll watch them because there's people that walk around it, like older people that walk around it during the summer, and like now I'm like I kind of keep looking out there like what idiot's gonna go? Who's gonna be the first idiot to see if the ice cracks? It ain't gonna be me, but I'm gonna sit over here and watch. But these are fun. Like, you know what? You can go to school for 16, 17 years and you won't remember many things, but you'll remember. Look, you saw Rudy during the freeze out.
Yeah.
Those kids that you just talked to.
I don't get out a lot, so I remember shit.
Yeah, true. I just like it that I won't even be here. Like, hopefully they don't.
Well, that's perfect time.
Yeah, it's like unless it's so cool. I mean, but
it's better to be lucky than good in life.
Yeah, right. And
that's an A to Z rule.
That's an A to Z rule, and it's true indeed. I actually got so worried last night. I actually looked up. Can flights be stopped because weather's too cold?
Yeah.
And it says no. It says airplanes are supposed to fly better in cold weather. Mm-hmm. So we're out early in the morning. It shouldn't be a problem. I'll plug this. It's not even a real plug. I just want to get this shout in because I'll forget as we talk about other stuff. But we're going to Bahamas for joy and enjoyment. But also my in-laws are celebrating their 40th anniversary, which is really cool. And they spent it's actually in March, but they knew I'd be in spring training or in Arizona, so they moved it up. And it'll be pretty cool because they got a pretty cool relationship. Anybody's got parents been together that long, God bless them, because that don't really happen very often. So it should be a fun time. Should be a good celebration.
So the whole fam.
Yeah, whole fam will be there, which is cool. And the other thing that'll be fun is I can't wait to take a picture and tell everybody I'm going to see that documentary I saw on Netflix.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's tweeting about it, talking about it, but I don't have the first clue.
Yeah, the only reason why, and not to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, too bad, because it speaks to what social media and what this generation is all about. A quick synopsis. I won't give you everything, but basically some dude, some character, a guy, God, there's like 4 names I want to say to you, like the type of guy he is. That would make you just...
It'll make me say, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, one of them younger guys that thinks he's smarter than everybody else. Comes up with a great credit card. Basically a Uber of how to get artists to come to like different... It's a great idea. And he gets Ja Rule on board, and then suddenly he claims to buy an island in Bahamas, and they're going to have like this music festival. They get all the top models in the world to go there. They take all these great pictures. They make a great 90-minute, minute and a half, 2-minute video of why you should come to this Fry Festival. Everything comes off perfect, but it was a complete jackass that was putting it together and couldn't say no. Like, he got so far in, so deep in, he wouldn't cancel it, and it became the shit show that you expect it to become.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about
it. But it speaks to not so much the guy. To me, it spoke to, if I was that age, and I say this to myself in a lot of situations now, when I was in college, when I was 20, right out of college, had a little money, what my friends and I bit into this the way the mid-20s, like the kids that bought into it. Like when you see the line of kids and you're like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, why would you spend this type of money for a festival that's never happened? There was like, the guy was like, he was selling wristbands so you could get more exclusive stuff. But it's like none of the pictures that changed. To me, it was a deep look. If you're younger, into what our lives look like, you can look into Instagram, Twitter, and fall in love with something and have no real connection with the actual person, place, or thing.
These are the same girls that go to after hours at Roger's apartment, so I know what you're speaking of, my friend.
And we're off.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So I've never been to the Bahamas. Do you fly directly there?
Yeah, we're flying. We're going to Atlantis. You know what? I don't even know my flight. Like, I'm such a lazy bomb. Like,
okay, well,
we're flying in. We're flying.
Here's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
how do you prepare a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old for this adventure?
Number one, Isabella is 6 years old, going on like 20. She's more mature than me.
well, that's a low bar.
Yeah.
It's like saying the Browns had a good year.
Pretty much. And a game under 500. Her bags are, I mean, she's pretty well rounded. Like, as you can see right there, their bags are already like this. Their extra bags are already packed. I would say right now I'm probably the least packed out of everybody in the family. You just give them stuff on the flight. The one thing that my wife has been good at, and with my job, is they travel more than the average 4 and 6-year-old. Like Isabella from
and by commercial, well, you do it to spoil.
Yeah.
So they're used to it.
So they're used to it. They're used to getting on flights. The one good thing is, because Isabella's going to miss some time from school, they're both going to miss school during the spring training. They're not going to miss school this week now.
Yeah.
So they went to school this week already. And Friday, I would guess, will be canceled anyway. But we give them, they like, Isabella's into doing like crafts. As you can see her paint. She's got paint and everything all over the place, and putty and different stuff like that. So Isabella,
I thought that was donut glaze. But
yeah. If it was my table, it would have been. So with Isabella, you give her stuff like that. With AJ, you just pray, because he's me all over again. Attention span is zero. We have iPads. We have, hopefully, he's got all of his favorite people on the plane. So in the past, when he was younger, you just pass him around. In the past, but we are pushing it. We got a long trip now.
So everybody's on the same flight.
Well,
too.
her parents are with us, and then us, and then her brothers. We'll meet her. Her brothers are coming from Chicago, which will be colder than us.
Yeah.
The brothers are coming with their significant others. I mean, look outside right now. It looks like
it
looks like the end of the world. Yeah. Dude, a couple weeks ago when you were in Alabama, the snow literally on our deck was probably up higher than that blue balloon right there. Like, it was unbelievable watching it grow.
I know a couple people chuckled at my measuring the snow on that Saturday with with the White Claw can, but when I came back, no, I think the Monday then after that, after kind of been plowed around and shoveled around and whatever, it's probably the second most snow I'd ever seen in any driveway of mine. Yeah,
yours is tough, man. You're going to be in a tough situation.
It's tough back there.
Well,
listen, I started to say this earlier, and I know shockingly we got distracted, but like for me, you know, I hope everybody's safe, but I'm fine. Like I'm going to work inside. I actually went to the grocery store for once in my life,
and he keeps his place at 50 degrees anyway, so he won't know the difference.
So I'm just gonna bunker up and see. What
I like
happens.
These days.
Yeah.
Like when it snowed a couple weekends ago. We went out early in the day. I went sledding with the kids, and
that's the difference with this cold. Like on that day, all my friends' kids, they had a blast. You couldn't get them to come inside. But if it's really minus
cold,
25,
you got to keep your ass inside.
Yeah,
iPads, all that stuff will be used. It's we're Northeast
we got the
Ohio.
Sega Genesis. We keep it handy.
Ooh,
so
you do
play some
Sega.
NHL hockey.
I got to get back to playing video games.
Yeah, see, the new video games.
It's
man.
too much.
And listen, video game radio is awful. But anyway,
it's embarrassing.
Like I just, you know. I play Madden with my friends' kids from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same. Like, it was super simple when we had it back in my day.
Yeah.
Since we're playing Glory Days here.
Yes, we are. Speaking of Glory Days, let's get into some sports stuff.
Okay.
Because we'll bounce back around to stupidity as we do anyway. The Anthony Davis stuff just kind of became...
That's where I was going to go. Great minds think alike.
Yes, they do. And it's funny because I have my laptop up in front of me, and very often I don't have... I just go off the top of my head, and that's probably why our podcasts are all over the place. But before you came over here, AJ and I were having some salmon, and we were discussing things, and I looked at your guys' website, The Athletic, a place that I love, and I would say there's there's like 8 to 9 articles about Anthony Davis on The Athletic 24 hours after the news came down, and it's not breaking news. It's been pretty clear going forward this was coming.
Yeah. This was just Rich's public push. For
yes,
LA.
This was Rich. Yeah, and with the trading deadline being next Thursday, the chances are pretty low that anything will happen. But it takes over a news cycle, and I'll give the Athletic this because you can pick and choose how the Athletic comes to you and what you look at. And I probably don't have the number down perfectly because I have certain cities that I have pop up in my feed. And it's amazing.
On your app, right? But right now you're looking at the laptop.
I'm looking on my laptop.
Yeah.
But yeah. And on my phone, I've got it set up. Yeah, on the app it's different. But yeah, I'm at the Athletic on my laptop. And it's amazing to me, which I find cool. And this is going to be one of the better this will let me wear my Athletic hat for another 5 months until I bitch about needing a new one in the summer. It's amazing how many different ways you can get a story about Anthony Davis. It's better than USA Today because you're getting people that are in Boston, L.A., New Orleans. I can go through New York. I'm getting Cleveland. I'm getting every angle of Anthony Davis. And it was funny because on Twitter yesterday, you got the older, get off my lawn type that wants to yell and scream and say, I'm done with the game. The game is killing me. And I get that sentiment. Like, I get it. It's not what we grew up on, but it kind of is. It's just different. The players are in control, and we've known that for a while. It's not like I'm not sitting here like, believe it or not, and I know in Northeast Ohio people don't want to hear this. For the NBA, this is business. This is good business, baby.
It sure is.
It's good business.
It sure is.
Sorry, Cleveland. Sorry, New Orleans. Sorry. Like, and the thing is about the NBA, think about this. Out of all the three major sports, and I know we always say it's all about the big markets. And LeBron, and I think this era is shown, whether it be Tim Duncan, LeBron, hell, even Michael Jordan's, Chicago's huge. You could become a star anywhere. Milwaukee's got you could be a star.
More now than ever before.
More now than ever before. Houston's always had stars. But think back to like 78, the last 40 years. You had Seattle, Portland was like in the late 70s, 80s. I'm just saying, teams that have like they've had the most. If you look in basketball, whether it be like the most different type teams in states win championships. And now it's easy for us to say, well, all the stars only play in Boston and LA. True, but you've had a dynasty in San Antonio. You had a dynasty in Detroit. You've had a dynasty in Oakland now or Golden State. So, yeah, the stars always do end up in LA or Boston, but you still will get a run from Chicago. You'll still get a run from Detroit. You got a run in Cleveland.
Yeah. And it's not all great business because some of the sentiment is real, and some of the people now most of them first of all are like, well, we were done with the NBA anyway. If you hate that,
most of them didn't like it. Most of them haven't liked it since they were Warren Long.
It's good business for the NBA, and the best business for the NBA would be for him to end up with the Lakers, and Rich knows that, and that's why it's gone about this way. It's not big picture, and this goes back to the Cavs being held hostage by LeBron for all these years. It's not great business practice. It's not plan A, but show me what plan B is.
Right. And you've always said that.
And it's not great that LeBron is an active player, the most influential active athlete we've ever had, and owns an agency and is involved in this. It's not good for the
which is monopoly. Which is Monopoly 101,
yes.
by the way.
For the core competitiveness of the game, it's not good.
No.
For business,
it's awesome,
phenomenal.
I laugh because when I hear people and like the tweet, Rich, they put out the tweet or the Woj bomb was like at 7:45 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and I'm getting the kids ready for school, and I text you guys, I'm like, it's on, like, and it wasn't like we were like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I text you guys and be like, and basically saying to Raj, hey, stop sucking the teat of WWE wrestling and the Browns, and talk about something else. So it wasn't like a surprise to us. Like nobody on our text feed was like, I can't believe it. This has been coming, and I love like looking at like you look at the Lakers roster and it's like, what's the most sure thing on the Lakers roster in your mind other than 23?
It's hard to say, but at this point, given that Lonzo has dealt with injuries. And is
you
the
like
greatest
Lonzo,
shooter?
right?
I would, yeah.
He has become a better player this year.
Yes, and he's still a kid.
Oh yeah, but he's become a really.
I'm saying, given we've seen injuries, and given that shot has miles to go, and it might get there, because I don't think the kid has anything other than basketball in his life. But I think right now
he got a crazy baby mama. But that's
see, I didn't even know that.
See, I know
you read this Black TMZ shit.
I love when I saw an article. It's one of the worst websites ever. That's like, all right, quick, remember what you're saying, Lonzo Ball.
Kyle Kuzma is my answer.
Kuzma, yeah. Kuz, right, I love. But does Kuz fit with the 7-foot LeBron? And LeBron is about 6'10", by the way. Does he fit with a LeBron, with an Anthony Davis? Yeah. Like, when you start wheeling and dealing and not a video game, where does that fit?
Well, sure. I think you have to ask. I think the Lakers, and they probably have for years, because they were, remember when Magic got fined for tampering with LeBron years ago? Like, this is just what goes on.
Right.
I think they have had a long time to decide, is this guy the best player we have, non-23 division?
Right.
Or is he the best asset we have?
Yes. And that may be a different.
The NBA has become a game of assets.
Right. And Lonzo, there's a great point, not a great, but there's a really good point guard in New Orleans already. Holiday's played pretty well. And I know most people don't keep up. If the other big guy would stay healthy with New Orleans, and if Anthony Davis ever stayed healthy, Portland, New Orleans has they can be good.
Yeah.
But the big guy that can't shoot, his name's beyond me right now, the European guy. And I'll think of his name in a minute. Holiday.
Zubac?
Huh?
Oh, New Orleans. Mirotic.
Mirotic, yes.
Yeah.
Mirotic is a good player when healthy. But the healthy part is the problem.
He's like a number 3 guy. At
Yeah. But with Anthony Davis and when they have Boogie, that's my point. Like
now you get shots.
And he can stroke it and he's 7 foot and he can give you some rebounds. That's a great what's Kuz. That goes back to what I'm saying. Like, all right, Anthony Davis, you go and you're number 1, you're 1B.
Yeah.
You know, in it with LeBron and with the Lakers. How far down is 2A really a 3 or 4? You know what I mean? Because if you get rid of Kuz, I think it's a harder trade than what you think. And obviously the best place for him to go is Boston, and he don't want to go to Boston, or at least that's what they're putting out there right now.
Yeah. I know everything you read on Twitter is absolute and direct. I got a real hard time believing that Danny Ainge having one verbal conflict, three people removed from LeBron would prevent Anthony Davis from going there if that was really the right fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, does he want to be – where does he want to – who? And the thing is –
well, here's the layers to this, okay? You know, for everybody that is trying to make ends meet and would love to move their kids out of the city, right, to Willoughby or to Manchester or wherever that might be, is really unentertained and unenthused by a guy that can't play here for $200-some million, right?
It's a punch in the stomach.
But these guys don't live in the galaxy that we do anyway.
No, it's a
and
punch
at
in the
core
stomach.
of it, he's walking away for millions because the team that he's on can pay him the most. The NBA has done a good job in structuring it that way, and all of these guys continue to do that. So far, Russ is the only example of the one that signed the Mega Max.
And look what it's done, though. Him and Paul George got something going.
So there's that layer. There's the absurd NBA salary cap rules that only like Brian Windhorst and 14 other people in the world know, because like this Rose rule that why they can't trade him now, all this shit.
It's
like,
crazy.
Come on. You know, this is how it's going to be.
Right.
And it actually, even though my first reaction to your text was they should fold the Pelicans.
Yeah, that was yours.
Is that this helps the team.
Yes.
Because they know, and then they can hold an auction. And you're right, probably not in 9 days or whatever it is until the deadline. But to the point of, okay, we're going to trade him this summer. We're going to sit him the rest of the year. We're going to do this. We're going to concede these things. And then everybody else, you have these months, 5 months.
Figure out how you want to get him.
Figure out how you want to get him. He is for sale.
He is for sale. And
he is that big-ass house on the lake at the price of the one around the corner.
Yes, with a Suburban sitting on the lake right now, revving up. Here's what Chris Haynes just said. I guess it's funny because I have Twitter up in front of me. It says LeBron James would play second fiddle to Anthony Davis if they played together. Like LeBron's people are out. Right. But that's like I chuckled as you're talking. That popped up on my feed. And I'm like, like Clutch is willing to say and do anything right now.
Anything.
And it's like, and this is why. Remember when LeBron signed in the offseason and left, and Sabo being one of them going, what was he going there? There's somebody, and we were all like, it ain't about basketball. Like LeBron is not. There's layers to this. He wasn't worried about the roster in September 2019. Or 2018. He was worried about April 2019. What can you give us? And he saw those, and like what you said about those guys, they're not just players. They are, there's something to be like there's like it's like, all right, yeah, well, I'll play with you for a couple weeks to see if you can win a couple games, and we'll win a couple games. But I'm gonna go get somebody to come play with us.
As soon as he came back, he gave Deion Waiters enough rope to hang himself.
Yeah,
he was gone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just
it. I don't think it'll be Davis, but see, here's the problem the Lakers have. I don't think they have enough to get Davis. They have enough, but I just don't think it's nothing to Pelicans. Why would the Pelicans jump?
Well, let me deflect that answer by asking you a question.
Okay.
For years now, we've called him Grandpa LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The stuff that rubs guys the wrong way, the stuff that made meaningless regular seasons longer, all of that stuff. And he's earned it, and it's worked for him, right? He does not have an outstanding record as a GM by any means, but he has strong-armed some organizations into doing things for him. He has gotten teams that were ultimately better than they were when it worked out. Okay? Do you think that Grandpa LeBron at 34, still, as we said, the most influential active athlete ever, still probably the best player in the NBA, do you think there is a faction of these guys that are coming in the next 17 months to free agency or to this kind of crossroads that says, I don't want anything to do with that.
Oh, yeah. We've already seen that. Yeah. There's only a few guys.
And I think that is the one thing. I'll tell you my personal feelings on Clutch all day. It don't do me any good.
Yeah.
But I think that might be the one thing that they've misplayed here.
Yeah, because they've overvalued something.
Because they are counting on.
Look at what they're overvaluing.
Yeah, take out the value of everything else for a second. They are counting on an AD, a Kawhi, someone down that list to say, I'm absolutely going to the Lakers. This is what I want to do. And I think those guys are at the point where I'm my own man.
Well, there's certain.
AD is unique.
AD is very unique.
Oh my God.
AD is unique as a person too, because he didn't grow up as a star of the AAU scene. We've talked about, he a lot like Russell Westbrook. Like he was a late bloomer. We've told the story before about 100 episodes ago. He was signed. I remember when I was doing the Gary Waters show, when Gary Waters was the Cleveland State basketball coach, he had signed this kid named Anthony Davis, this kid out of Chicago.
He committed. I don't think he signed.
He committed. I'm sorry. He committed as a junior. He committed. He was a 6'1" point guard that was going to Cleveland State. And I remember talking to Gary Waters about him.
Didn't play at a traditional power school.
No, played at a smaller school in Chicago. They got him. Wasn't a big AAU player. He was 6'1". Gary Waters was like, he's going to be a nice project. And then over the summer, he grew 9 inches and becomes the Kentucky guy with the brow that you guys now know. But he's always been unique because he used to be a guard at 15, 16 years old, and he turned into this guy. Has not been very reliable injury-wise in the league, but when he's been healthy, especially recently, there isn't anything like him.
Well, sure. I mean, he's only 25. God, and he covers so much freaking ground.
Unbelievable. He's 25. Let me get back to what you got it. You make a good point. I think that 90% of the higher tile player wants nothing to do with being in LeBron's shadow, casting the shadow, or carrying the shadow when the shadow falls. Because that's the thing. What you truly are saying, okay, LeBron, you are at the top of the mountaintop, and you've been up there for a very long time. But we're in Sandusky, baby, and we're getting on Cedar Point, and you're like the demon drop. I know it's gone, but for you youngsters, there used to be this ride that went up about 200 feet in the air, and then it's more than that, and took like 20 stories.
Then they tall enough to get on this shit?
Hell yeah, I moved off to that. AJ, come get my stilts. At some point, if you are a quote-unquote max guy, LeBron ain't carrying you. You're carrying LeBron. Now, LeBron can fall back on. He told Kyrie Irving and everyone else when he came back to Cleveland, I came back because of Kyrie. I want to hand this thing off to Kyrie, on and on and on and on. We hear him say that, but we know with 5 minutes in the game, get your ass in the corner, Kyrie. This is my ball game, right? In bad situations, I'm like, I want to see, can LeBron even deal with? Because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to happen where he's no longer the most important guy. How does he deal with that? And we don't know.
We don't know. Because there's been no precedent for really any stage of his career. A guy living up to the hype, surpassing it the way he did, getting on that fast track.
And I'll be honest with you. Some of these guys lose it, and they can become complimentary guys. And some of them lose it because they can't do what they used to do. They don't want to play anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised. And I know LeBron loves the game. And his body, and like I'm sitting there, like with the body he has, he can always put his ass on somebody, post up on the box, and go to work. But I told you, I think I'm curious to see what he looks like when he comes back from this injury. And they're taking their time. And I keep thinking
Thursday, right, is the target.
I've heard the last time I heard they may not play. They got a Saturday night game, I think, with Golden State.
Well, I
too.
know he's not playing tonight. They play the Sixers.
Oh yeah, so maybe Thursday is the one.
Let me tell you this. Speaking of good for business, I'm anti-regular season NBA.
Right.
But the last 4 or 5 days, I've paid attention. Now, some of it's just the time of year. There was no football last weekend.
Right.
College basketball's grinding to the heart of conference play where it's bad. There's no football. But, yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, you get around the trade deadline, and the NBA gets a little more interesting.
It does. Well, it plays
parts of this dead ass.
Yeah, they play it out perfect. It's funny you said about college basketball because I was watching, like, Oklahoma, Texas Tech last night, and something like in the games were you can just tell it's that time of college basketball season. I mean, we can talk about Duke, but like Duke stuff it's not even like it's real basketball, but it ain't real.
Cavs thought.
Yes.
Look, Zion has just, and I'm watching him last night, and I mean, it really does look like a video game.
He's special.
He springs off these dudes.
He's special.
Okay. He'll probably end up being the number one prospect, and I mean, he's certainly a unique talent.
Well, how do you turn away from him? because he may not be the best basketball. He may not be the best basketball player in the draft.
You asking that question is a bridge to where I'm getting. Okay. You know, I think what you got to worry about if you're a Cavs fan is if there's a better basketball fit, and I'm not saying there is. I mean, when you watch what this guy does and how he dunks on people and how he's known and how he's going to light up Summer League and sell tickets, how are you going to talk Dan Gilbert away from him if that opportunity
you
was
just spilled it
The
out.
answer is you're not.
You're not.
So the NBA is going to get good again, guess what, on like May 15th, whenever the lottery is, because people are going to go buku for those 3, 4, 5, 6 franchises that could win the lottery. Well, it's going to be sold on getting in.
And they get back to getting national televised games. That doesn't mean you're good. Doesn't mean I keep saying that to me. That's the one thing out of this. And I said this to Dr. Camino a couple weeks ago.
Nick, get off Twitter.
Yeah, Nick, stay away, man. You got kids. Now you need to stay away, Doc. They're not. They have no culture as a franchise. And for as much as we put down Grandpa LeBron, the Cavs needed Grandpa LeBron to win a championship.
No doubt.
And Zion may be the best athlete to enter the NBA since LeBron. Or there's Josh Smith's one of them. Like, you can go through like the best athletes you've ever seen in the NBA. And I'm sure if there's people that can, go with like Sean Kemp is one that jumps out to me. LeBron is obvious.
Well, how do these guys make hundreds of millions? Because they're different.
Because
this
bingo
is different.
Bingo.
And look, if you're ready to turn us off because you've had enough NBA talk, like this Anthony Davis, this is the present and future of sports. These guys hold the leverage. The Browns are a year away from Myles Garrett being eligible for the mega deal, which means they're 2 years away from Baker Mayfield being eligible for the mega deal.
And you just got to sign them.
We'll see what happens.
And you just got to do it.
Yeah.
If they're healthy,
you
just got to do it.
You just got to do it.
And the Anthony Davis thing to me is it's going to be interesting. Even Boogie came back. Like when he came back, he was like, I still wish I was there. And I remember thinking when they put them together, I was like, that ain't gonna work. But Anthony Davis is that versatile, even though he's 6'10", 6'11", that it was working it's unlike anything we'd had seen in the NBA.
I covered a game his 1 year of college. I almost said his freshman year. That'd have been stupid. Yeah. I'm on the baseline at Rupp Arena. They're playing Vandy, maybe Vandy's best team in 25 years. They had Festus Ezeli.
Oh yeah,
and they had Jeffrey Taylor. They had some other guys. And obviously Kentucky was really good too. They won it because they had Anthony Davis.
Right.
But they weren't this was the year before the undefeated Kentucky team, maybe 2 years before actually. And Vanderbilt made a run and had a lead. And he catches it, Dre, on the wing, just inside the 3-point line. Starts to go. Ezeli's right on him. Muscular ass dude, 32-year-old out there playing.
Yeah, see, I was gonna say, he's like a BYU player.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, he crosses up. He spins back and he shoots a step back jumper, and it's good as soon as it leaves his hand.
Right, and he's running.
And then you see him after the game, and you see how his arms reach to freaking Louisville.
Yeah,
and you see that he's baby face and that he's a legit 6'11", 7 foot.
Right,
and I'm like, I don't know that I've ever seen a cat like this.
Right, and there's like 6 of those in the league.
And
now.
then a year or two later, I'm at the Ohio State Alabama Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, and I go down to the ground floor. Now the Superdome's different. There's no underground in New Orleans because it's below sea level.
That's the bottom, right.
So I'm walking, and I swear, I think I've told this on the podcast before, from 500 yards away, looking down the not real well-lit Superdome, I can tell that's Anthony Davis ahead because there's nobody else in the world that's shaped like him. And he's just there hanging out to watch the game. And I'm like, that's Anthony Davis. And the person was like, I was walking with was like, who?
You know that, right? Yeah.
Because you never forget that.
Right.
Shit.
You never forget.
And in a league where they've all won the genetic lottery.
Yeah.
So I do have concerns about him doing this at this stage of the career. He's never been an out front big time.
No, he's always been the sweetest guy in the world.
And because of his body being the way it is, you do have concerns about his long term.
Yeah.
Because he's been hurt. He's been banged up.
And just his body, and we talked about it. He didn't get this tall until he was 18, 19, 20 years old. It's been different for his body to change that. The one thing I'll say, it sucks for his teammates. Like, that's what bothers me. Like, now if I want to be the old man, get off my lawn guy, it bothers me because now his teammates who are doing the best that they can do.
Yeah.
They're giving and I know this is hokey and it sounds like I'm talking about a high school team, but there is still something to the camaraderie of a locker room and the belief in each other. And now your best player is looking at the rest of you guys and being like,
there's also something called reality.
Yeah. Reality and the 1st and 15th as a pro player tells me.
No.
All the time. He always tells a pro. I'll remain nameless, but it's the 1st and 15th, baby.
Right.
I just, because all his teammates yesterday had to take questions, Zach, about, do you feel like you've done enough, or has New Orleans done enough? And New Orleans is and we all have been there. They got the pity party of pity parties. They've had the shittiest, month. Their 2019 sucks so far, considering what's happened with the league and what's happening in the NFL, and then with this. But you know what? That's pro sports. The Lakers, I keep making fun of my Steelers friends, Rob and Dennis, and I keep saying that Rob's already had his son. Dennis is going to have his in the next half a month. They're both Steeler fans, and I said, great, you two are going to have sons that are going to grow up to the Steelers sucking, and you guys are going to have your sons are going to wear Baker Mayfield jerseys. They got pissed at me for saying that. And I was like, but that's the cycle of sports. Yeah. It's the cycle of sports. And kiddos, the Lakers and Celtics it's back to when we in the 80s. Yes. I was a Lakers fan. Right? How could you were either Magic Johnson or you were Larry Bird. Yeah. It's coming back. Right. And it's always been a part of this league, and it'll last for a little while, and in 10 years, it'll cycle back out, and it'll be someone else. Yeah. And by the way, the Warriors run the league. Yeah. Nobody's beat them. Scott Van Pelt said it perfectly last night. It's amazing how we can make a story all day long about Anthony Davis because he goes, of course the league wants that because ain't nobody stopping this thing that's going 100 miles an hour right now. Right. What if there's a big one yesterday. This is the big one. Woj put this out there. If the Lakers were to get Anthony Davis and then say Golden State couldn't give the max to Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson ended up with the Lakers with Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Klay. Well, you got to surround LeBron with shooters. Don't tell Magic that. Yeah. He's got Lance Stevenson and his 17 personalities. They got like 3 guys with 17 personalities. Doesn't it? I mean, isn't it better for the Lakers to miss the playoffs? Yes. If Anthony's not going to be traded till July? But Uncle Bron don't play that. Grandpa ain't playing that. Well, we're serving 2 masters here. We got a little clash of interest. You just said it. Their best bet would be and sit out till April, LeBron. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Seriously. I know. You ain't winning the championship. Take your money, set it aside. You go use your other job. Go recruit. Go work for Clutch. We'll take care of you. You and Richie, go make sure Zion signs with Clutch. Right. Yes. Like, because Jay-Z out here trying to take your clients. Jay-Z ain't been to Pittsburgh since the bus went away. Think about that. Think about everybody's like, Jay-Z's at the game. I was like, that's a recruit. Like, he's in Pittsburgh on a Tuesday night. And, that's the world we live in. It's just that if Tom Brady used his media day press conference to say Trevor Lawrence is going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait, and I hope he signs with my agency. Oh, my God, the NFL would lose. But LeBron just gets away with this shit. Yes. How about when LeBron was like, when LeBron, right before he got hurt, they were like, because they were saying that he was talking about Anthony Davis. He's like, I'd like to play with any good player. It was the most honest thing LeBron has ever said with the microphones on. Even over that bullshit he does for ESPN that I keep seeing those documentaries. Yeah. He taking money from y'all left to right, that bullshit barbershop that he did on HBO. Just stealing from y'all. But God bless him. God bless him. Let's get some wine and go to the barbershop. Man, are you kidding me? I take my kid to Sports Clips and we do the same thing. We watch Larry Nance eat subs. LeBron has given me incredible basketball memories, and LeBron has done awesome things for communities that mean a lot to me. But that barbershop's a hard watch. He's so full of shit. A lot of it's it's a hard watch because I can see from afar why you'd be interested. I can. But we've been up so close and we've seen so much and we know the characters that it just don't do anything for us. You're right. We know the characters. Yeah, but you know what? Along those lines, like say we were being videoed here, right? Yeah. I was here 20 minutes before we hit record, right? So, like, we went back and watched that or listened to that. It might be funny to us. Yes. Probably wouldn't be outside the circle. No. Might not fly. You're right. So someone along the way has to say, before this gets to HBO, right. Why don't you guys just keep this ain't that funny. Yeah, keep that to yourself. Why don't you have Craig make a clip? Right. And then it fucking ends up on Instagram, Jen. God damn it. Yeah. What he said. Some things are better just kept. Yeah, everything doesn't need to be recorded. And that's the other thing, too. Look, sports, we like to say this, any sport, any level, there's a lot that goes on that we never know about, right? Yes. There's a lot in any locker room. There's things that go on, that get hashed out. That's how you get better. That's how you go about your business. Man, in the NBA, there ain't no secrets right now. No. Everything's out there, and not everyone's out for themselves, but a lot are. But isn't that America, though? Well, sure. I guess the difference. You know what I mean? I guess the difference is we're not sure where America's teetering, but we know how the NBA season ends. Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't. I mean,
That's a good
did we
point.
just talk about 15 NBA topics before we said, "Oh, by the way, this
Oh
is
yeah,
over"?
it's over.
One of the great dynasties of our
Of
time
all
is going on, and we
right.
haven't even mentioned
And
that.
the only thing that's going to stop them is Steph tripping over himself and busting his ankle.
Yes.
Because they're like, do you see them with Boogie now? They get up, and I just got to put
I
this
watched
out
it
here.
on Saturday for a little bit.
I watched a little bit last night in Indiana just because there was nothing else really on. They get a lead now, Zach, and then they just go, okay, Boogie. And just throw it down to him. You can't double him, and you can't stop him. And he gets his 22 points after they get the
It's
lead.
allowed them to play their young guys too and
Yes.
get confidence, and that's what's scary.
It is scary. It's very scary for the league.
All right, Andre's got to pack his bags. We are going to record another one though for Super Bowl. We're going to talk Super Bowl props and Super Bowl eats and some football business. So we thank you guys for listening. We thank Scene, Honeymoon, and American Fireworks for their support.
Hey, I got a meeting tonight with Cleveland Whiskey. I'm doing this as a preemptive strike. We appreciate them. We appreciate some of the efforts they've made with Rec to Connect Foundation. They got some cool bottles coming out. We got a cool event coming up here. I'm going to look at my phone. So
16th is the date.
The 16th. Look at Zach. He actually paid attention. It's a custom barrel benefit coming up Saturday, February 16th from noon to 4. As Cleveland Whiskey will present the Rec to Connect custom barrel benefit. Basically, they're going to help them out in enhancing. They're going to create a unique blend bourbon, especially for the Rec to Connect Foundation. It'll be a limited bourbon. Will only be available at the distillery, and their goal is to sell out during the event. Cleveland Whiskey will donate $5 from each Rec to Connect blended bottle sold. So they'll have a signature cocktail come through. I'll be there. We got some other people that are going to stop through. I know my man that comes on and how your day is at 3:00 will be on. We got a bunch of people that are coming. Like you said, everything doesn't need to be recorded and seen. Everybody. No, but seriously, Cleveland Whiskey, I hope they're going to be a part in 2019 of this podcast as well. But come out and see us on February 16th from noon to 4, as we're basically doing a checking out some whiskeys. It'll be a good stuff. So Money Penny, do your thing, and hopefully we can get through there. Go ahead and say whatever else you need to say. I want to get that out there.
Stay warm, everybody.
I'll send pictures of my ass on the beach.
For Andre, I'm Zach. Talk to you next time on A to Z.
Konnichiwa, cold weather.